Wow. And so I know this is something that you talk about affected you personally. And I'm really interested in talking about your personal experience with it. You said you used I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Is it NaPro or NaPro
NaPro
technology? NaPro
Technology.
Technology. Okay, cool.
Yes.
And so, yeah, let's just hear about your experience because I'm sure a lot of women that are listening that are either, struggling to get pregnant right now are kind of wondering, well, okay, what are my options? What can I do to make this better?
Kind of the mainstream medical approach to dealing with PCOS is generally going to be asking the question, are you trying to get pregnant or are you trying not to get pregnant? As step one. And if you're not wanting to be pregnant right now, generally it's to prescribe a hormonal birth control pill. Because as I mentioned before, that's something that masks the symptoms of PCOS. So that's going to help with the irregular cycles, and that's going to help with the hormone levels and the acne even. And, it evens out some of those symptoms, which is great if that's what your goal is just to minimize symptoms. But that was not my goal. My goal was to figure out what is the underlying cause of this issue and how can I deal with the root problem, not just the symptoms. And so for me, if I knew that hormonal birth control was just going to mask the symptoms, that wasn't the Band-Aid approach that worked for me. And if that's what you're looking for, that may be the best option for you. But when I wanted an alternative that was not either birth control pill until I want to get pregnant, and then if you can't get pregnant, we'll just give you fertility meds. That wasn't the option that I wanted. I wanted, how do I figure out the root problem? How do I correct it to get my hormones in a normal place so I can do this as natural as possible without medication? That's what I wanted. And really, that's the approach of NaPro Technology. So there are some NaPro Technology trained OBGYNs throughout the country. You can go to their website, naprotechnology.com, for more information about it or to find a doctor that is trained this specific way. But essentially, I describe it as a functional medicine approach or a naturopathic approach to fertility. So they're looking at what is your baseline, what is your body's hormones doing, when are your hormones reacting in your menstrual cycle. So they pair with something called the Creighton model of natural family planning, which is a way of charting your cycle. You may have heard of fertility awareness-based methods to either help you conceive or prevent pregnancy. It's the same idea as one of those, but this particular method goes with NaPro Technology. So my doctor would have me chart symptoms that I would notice, biological markers of fertility like cervical mucus, and chart those. And then I would bring my chart with me to my doctor's appointment. And she would look at how I'm charting my symptoms throughout the month. And based on that information, do specific blood draws on certain days of the cycle, not just a random day, to see where are hormone levels on that particular point in the cycle. So we can really pinpoint what's going on and which supplements can help even out some of these hormones and really try to correct these imbalances to see if it can help my body do what it's supposed to do on its own. And those are all things that I would not be able to do if I was just using hormonal birth control as an option. So it was something that really worked well for me. And one of the main pieces for me personally was progesterone. So progesterone is a hormone that is required to maintain a pregnancy. And for PCOS, we tend to run low in progesterone. And for me, that was something that I needed to reset my cycle and to cause a withdrawal bleed. Not really a true period if I hadn't ovulated the cycle before, but if I was just in that pattern of try again, when I was going to go 100 days, progesterone for 10 days each cycle, starting on a specific day, was something that allowed me to have a withdrawal bleed and start again. And sometimes what that would do was kickstart my body into regulating out the hormone levels and ovulating naturally. So by using this system, I have thankfully not experienced any miscarriages. And that's something that also is very common with PCOS because it takes so long to try to get pregnant if that's what your goal is. And then once you do get pregnant, if your progesterone is low, there's a much higher chance you may miscarry. It's like adding insult to injury. It's just awful. And unfortunately, in mainstream medical models, usually they require you to have had 3 miscarriages before you can start looking into fertility options and looking into the problem more. And that wasn't
Mhm.
going to work for me. It's like, if I knew my progesterone is off and my hormone levels are weird, I don't want to have 3 losses before I fix the problem. I want to fix the problem right away. And
Mhm.
NaPro Technology was the path that I used that allowed me to do that. And give you an idea, I've been able to confirm ovulation maybe 8 times in the past about 10 years, 8 times
Wow.
total in 10 years. And I have 3 kids and no miscarriages. So
Wow.
I am a huge fan of NaPro Technology. And it may not be the right fit for everybody who's listening, but it was the right fit for me. And a lot of people have never heard of it. And I don't have the stats handy. I was going to try to look them up, but there are some stats that show that people who used NaPro Technology to help them conceive had a higher rate of success than even using IVF.
Wow.
And it's way cheaper. Way cheaper. So it's just one of those things that you don't know what's the best option for you if you don't know what all the options are, you
Mhm.
know? And this is one other option out there that might be right. And so I scream it from the rooftops, check it out. It's awesome. And there
Yeah.
unfortunately aren't tons of NaPro Technology OBGYNs out there, but a lot of them do take remote clients. So you might be able to travel a couple hours to meet them in person once and then do all of your blood work and your treatment and care plan over the phone remotely. And I know of multiple doctors that do that. So
Mhm.
sometimes if you think, oh, there's nobody near me, that's not an option that works. Sometimes it is still an option. So
Oh,
it's something
wow.
to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I mean, it's almost like a very specific specialized care plan for you based on your body's needs.